Keep rocking, baby.
Let me just sum this up real fast. I initially just wanted to talk about V-Trigger 2. A lot of people were asking. V-Trigger 2 is 3 bars, right? It's invincible on the first frame, and then frames 2 onward is projectile invincible for the dash that you get. Now, that frame 1 projectile invincibility is not real. Frames 2 onward, you're projectile invulnerable, so it's pretty good for punishing projectiles, right? You get 3 different follow-ups. You get the kick ender, the punch ender, and you could just press back to cancel the dash. The punch follow-up is an overhead on the first hit, and it's a launcher, so you can combo after it, right? This is also a launcher in a sense. It pops them higher in the air, the kick version, and it's frames 1 through 19 projectile invincible. The punch follow-up is 8 frames. On frames 8 through 19 invincible because he goes in the air, and he's airborne, so it's good for a throw bait, right? The dash cancel is very great on first activation. Very important, like let's say if you did a block string into Bloom, you could do this on first activation, the dash cancel and your plus, and from there if you spend resources you're even more plus here, so you can go for a mix-up here. And this is probably one of the biggest strengths about V-Trigger 2 is that you get this dash cancel. And then you're plus 6 at that range. Now, you could get either Crouching Fierce, you could get Throw, right? But you have to delay it, obviously. I should probably show that better. Alright. Obviously, the overhead is -6 on block. You will get punished. That's why you have to dash cancel it. This is probably the worst case scenario because you'll be losing your turn after that, and your V-Trigger will be going. Or you could go for a low, right? And that low can go into a tick. Aside from that, first activation, a lot of what you get, as I said before, is really good. Right? But after first activation, you're going to find yourself needing to use resources because this just doesn't work. That's ambiguous because you can also make it go on the same side as well. So yeah, we showed this before. That is pretty important. But that's only first activation, which sucks. The other main thing is the fact that this no longer autocorrects because they nerfed it. So you see they fixed that. Usually what would happen is it would autocorrect and hit the opponent, and they would have to block on the other side. But now, because they decided to change it to where it doesn't autocorrect, now you whiff this move entirely in front of your opponent's face and you can get punished. Pretty bad. You do have some interesting mix-ups otherwise from first activation, but after first activation it's pretty whack. All you really get is this like 1 block string for that mix-up, and that's it for 3 bars. You want to confirm sometimes into your V-Trigger from first activation, right? You could do low forward into this, right? And you get a conversion. After first activation, however, if you attempt to do this, you're gonna get punished. And this goes for a lot of things, right? Like, this might work. Yup, that works. But off the forward fierce, which is very slow, like 13 frames, I believe. This is -13, but it's actually really slow. That works on first activation, but after first activation, no. Good luck with that. Max range Sonic Scythe into this doesn't work. Only on first activation. Only on first activation, and you have to be mashing the kick. Because let's say you're in the corner and you're getting pressured, right? And let's say your opponent's trying to walk back in anticipation of a normal that's not this, right? Because they're not thinking about that when you're in the corner. You can kind of like walk when they walk, or if they try to walk forward, You know, you could do crouch medium kick, and then you can get your confirm, right? You can get your confirm, and now they're in the corner, and they have to deal with your Oki and pressure. You can't use corridor to escape the corner anymore. What you would do prior patch is you would do Justice Corridor. You'd steer it over the opponent's head if you were cornered. You would land behind them, and then you would use Stealth Dash. You'd cancel the whiff animation into the dash and go full screen. But this was 2 uses, and if you had already used your first use, this means that you've completely lost your V-Trigger 2 for the rest of the round. And now that you don't have that ability to escape, the only other way is by doing crouching medium kick into the kick follow-up of the dash, which is Justice Shell. But that only works on first activation as a combo. If you try to do it otherwise, the Justice Shell will be blocked and you can get punished. Like, this V-Trigger is very matchup dependent, and even then, you could argue that maybe you're locking out the opponent from doing a fireball with this V-Trigger being there stocked. But it's like, it's at 3 bars. By the time you get this V-Trigger active, they're winning. They're not going to be too concerned about being scared about throwing a fireball, which might allow you to punish them for it. But at the same time, they're probably going to try to kill you. They're not even going to be concerned with that. Interesting things you can do with this. Put them in the corner, and you get the left-right mix-up. So yeah, there are some interesting matchup things that you can do with this V-Trigger. But aside from that, overall, this V-Trigger is not too great. And Bonchan said it himself that even if this V-Trigger was 2 bars, he'd still not use it.
I was specifically told to ask you why you don't use V-Trigger 2.
He said if there was a reason to use it, he would, but it's just not good enough right now.
Is there something that you would do to it to make it better?
He says it's in a pretty bad state right now. Like, right now, V-Trigger 1 is 2 gauges, and V-Trigger 2 is 3 gauges. Even if Trigger 2 was brought down in its current state to 2 gauges, he would still probably not use it.
I think that's pretty true for the most part. You have to spend a lot of resources once this thing is active for you to get any good like mix-up off of it or good pressure, right? It does have good corner carry, which is not bad, but you're sacrificing the utility of V-Trigger 1, which is literally like V-Trigger. With V-Trigger 1, it's projectile and throw invincible on frame 1. This thing, though. They still kind of messed up, Capcom, by making this thing have a hurt box upon recovery when, like, in the middle of the opponent. So even if, like, the opponent, let's say, throws a fireball or they delay tech, right, you still get thrown. You still get thrown. It's projectile and throw invincible for the first 3 frames on activation before he disappears on the 4th frame, meaning that he should be safe from throws and projectiles even after, like during the startup and then when he disappears. But because of the flaw in which they have the hurt box appear in the middle of the opponent, this thing it doesn't even matter. Like, sometimes I'll get hit by projectiles or by the throw. The fact though that this is projectile invincible, right, means that you can do the same thing, right? You can do the same thing with this V-Trigger. You don't get as much damage, but it's a 2-bar V-Trigger, so you can do it more than once, right? And not only that, you still have the mix-ups that you spend a bar for with this, right? You still get the ambiguous mix-up, right? And the only difference with V-Trigger 2 is it's more layered, if that helps, but even then, it's like you're still forcing the opponent to guess at some point, and you rather have a V-Trigger that is going to be more available for you to use. You can still punish people for throwing projectiles with V-Trigger 1 as well. It's just not a big punish. And even then, with the V-Trigger scaling, right? With the scaling to V-Trigger activations, it still kind of hurts that V-Trigger. You're still going to get the same opportunity to punish projectiles anyway with V-Trigger 1. Because it's going to happen twice. And that's the value behind it. If you want to get, like, bang for your buck with this V-Trigger, you're usually going to go for the reset. Like, you're not going to try to end the combo. You're probably going to go for the reset. you're probably gonna go for the reset, or you're gonna just end the combo, go for Oki anyway, right? So it's just, it's like, it's something to consider, but really for the most part, like, this V-triggers are not that great otherwise. Honestly, I still would pick V-trigger to win. I'll experiment more with it, maybe try it in matches, but by the time you get this V-trigger, you're pretty much dead. Like, you're relying on that one mix-up to hit. You gotta take risk to use this V-trigger. Like, you're probably gonna be playing Nash in a more, like, dynamic way. What I mean by that is, like, you can play him, right, in terms of the regular style. You're still gonna play him normally, but what I mean is, like, you have to confirm into this V-trigger. You know that, right? You have to confirm into this V-trigger. So, what this means is, because I showed before how you had to confirm from it from regular normals, right? From, like, neutral, per se. If you, like, if you try to, like, go in with this thing, you're gonna get it, right? Obviously, you have to hit confirm it. It's not versatile. It doesn't have as much utility. And I think I said this already once, but just that alone is bad. Like, that alone is bad, that you have to hit confirm it because of the forced activation.
It's not like Nash's toolset is bad. It's just that he needs to do the right thing so many times in order to even get around, you know? And the sad thing is that makes sense for a character in a fighting game. You need to get a confirm into a special move. As soon as you activate this V-trigger, you need to go in. And pay in mind that you have gained 3 V-trigger bars, meaning you have probably taken half of your damage. And playing Nash, who has less than standard health, no uppercut, and no 3-framer, no walk speed. Going in here and playing this kind of footsie game to get a confirm, like, I don't feel like you want to do that if you are at low life and want to take the round. I don't feel like that's, like, I'm already taking a hard road playing Nash as a whole, and using this V-trigger is going to make it even harder, because if I want to use this entire potential, I need to play this mid-range footsie game to get confirms, or be a hurder, dash in and do a thing, like fake dash ups, you know?
I'm gonna highlight this part just to make sure I have it. I'll probably just upload it as a video or whatever later. But yeah, I just think, like, I needed to go over this stuff because people keep asking me over and over about, is V-Trigger 2 bad or good?